How's it going, guys? This week I'm making a cruiser board press for building cruiser boards. Now if you guys want to make this, stay tuned and I'll show you how. So for this project I'm going to be using 2 sheets of plywood that are 3/4 of an inch thick, and it's about 2 feet by 4 feet long for both of them. Then I have a 3 foot long piece of 1/8 inch steel here, and it's about 1.5 inches wide. Then I have about 12 3.5 inch bolts, 2 10-inch bolts, 28 washers, and 14 nuts. Now these are all 1/2 inch bolts, washers, and nuts, so we're all set there. And then you need some shipping tape or packaging tape for the very end, where you need to wrap all the wood in this so that you don't seal your whole press together when you add the glue. So let's go ahead, head over to the table saw where we can start ripping up these boards. I'm gonna start by ripping 2 strips to 11 inches wide. So now I need to take one of my 11-inch boards that I just cut, and I need to cut it down to 35 inches long. And I'm gonna do that with my miter gauge on my table saw. So now I need to take my other 11-inch board, and I stood it straight up. I clamped it onto just a scrap piece of wood I had, and I need to cut a 30-degree angle on it. And since my table saw can only tip to 45 degrees, it can't go down to 30, so I have to run it through going straight up like this so I can get that 30-degree cut. Otherwise, if I lay it flat and cut it, then I'll have a 60-degree cut. So I'm gonna have to do this to get the right angle I want, but I should be able to feed it through there without having to get my hands near the blade or anything like that, and do it pretty safe, just in case something does happen, but I think it should be fine. So let's go ahead and cut this. So you can go ahead and set that 30-degree angled board aside right now. We'll cut it to the final length in a little bit. But what I want to do is grab my second sheet of plywood and cut down 2 9-inch strips. You may only need 1, but I'm not sure how many, and just in case I make a mistake, I want to be able to I don't want to have to go back and tinker with the fence and all that again. So I'm just going to do 2 9-inch strips right now and get it out of the way. So I have both of my 9-inch strips cut, and I need to cut 2 pieces at 7 inches. Then I need to cut 4 more pieces at 5 inches. Now I'm cutting these all a little bit bigger than I need them. So then after I go ahead and cut my 30-degree bevel, I can just trim off the amount I need after that. So it's gonna be a lot easier to do it that way instead of trying to cut it 6 inches and then cut a perfect bevel. So in case I mess up, I have a little bit of room to play with. So let's go ahead and cut these pieces. So now we need to add a 30-degree bevel to one side of all of these pieces. So let's go ahead and do it the same way we did it to the first board. So now I have all my angled pieces cut, and this gives me that nice bend for where the tail is gonna be. Now what I need to do is go ahead and take this bottom board, which is my 7-inch piece so far, and I need to actually cut it down to 6 inches. And then once I have that cut to 6 inches, I can go ahead and stack these on here, and then I just wanna mark the back. So instead of having it all staggered and crazy, I just wanna cut it so it's perfectly straight on the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those. I won't show it because there's really no need. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut those, and then same exact thing for the top template, or for the top part of the press. Basically, you wanna do the same thing. You want your longest piece to be 6 inches, and then just cut it, and then stagger it right, and then make sure the back is flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So what I did now was I marked holes about every 5 inches between this point and an inch in over here. So just about roughly every 5 inches I marked a spot for a hole. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my drill and drill 1/2 inch holes through all 6 points. So now I have all the holes drilled, and what I need to do is basically flip these inside pieces so they're facing up, and I want to take packaging tape and tape the whole inside, and you can do the entire thing. I'm just going to do the inside, and mainly you want to do areas where you think glue could possibly squeeze out onto. So I went ahead and I put on the top piece. Now, when you actually use this press, you want to put your layers in first and then slide the top piece on last. So assuming that there's something in here, then this top piece and this top piece should be even. And then basically you just take your washers, put them over all the bolts that are sticking out. And then once you have them over all the bolts, then you can just go ahead and do the same thing with the nuts. And when you put these nuts on, when you actually have something in the press, you want to tighten down each spot evenly. You don't want to tighten just one side first, then try to go on the other, because then you won't have it even. You want to do it like back and forth, and you just want to slowly work your way down. So you can go ahead and put the nuts on each piece. So this is where I'm gonna stop today. I think that this press came out really good. Now you may be thinking, what about these metal pieces, the 2 10-inch bolts, and then a few extra nuts and washers? And basically what I was gonna do originally was, I was gonna have a bar going from there to there, and then same thing on this side from there to there. And then when I would add these bolts, then it would kind of pull this together and pull this in. But I was thinking, if I have these bolts going straight up and down, then it's not gonna be able to get pulled into it unless I actually cut like slots for these bolts so that this top piece could like fully slide. Now that's kind of getting a little bit more complicated than I wanted to, so I think it should be fine if it just pulls straight down. If anything, what you could do is add one here and then just add another 3.5 inch bolt and connect it. Actually, you might want to get like 4-inch bolt if you're gonna do that, but that would definitely be an option. But I don't see the point of this now that I actually have it built. It's kind of like, it looks good in the design, but I don't really see the point of it now. So there you have it, one cruiser board press. I think it came out really nice, and I'm sure it's gonna be a great addition to building my cruiser boards. Now, if you guys wanna see this press actually in use, you can go ahead and I'll have a video in the next, probably in the next month about how to build a cruiser board. It's gonna be an updated one from my last one. I had one many years back and that was just standard definition, so I want to update that video this summer. So I'm gonna have a cruiser board build video coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm not really sure when. Could be a month, could be sooner, but I'll have that coming. Now, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you're new to my channel, I try to post new woodworking videos almost every Tuesday. So that's it for this week's project, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday.